Little background of me. Ever since I could walk, I have been a fan of the waila scene, and I don't play a musical instrument or I don't or it doesn't run in my family. The For me, it's always been dancing, being on the dance floor, whether it was a two-step or a cumbia. Um, and ever since then, I've been a fan of it. And I think in my generation, it was both popular and non-popular. And so, like, when I went to the mission school, I don't know, maybe I was in the first grade or something, but I went there and we would go to the dances that they had there in the mission. And like me and my sister, she's a year older than I am. So we would, like, dance. And all the other kids, they wouldn't dance. They would just play jingle lot or whatever they wanted to play besides, dancing. And so when we would go back to school, they would make fun of us because they'd be like, you were out there on the dance floor. And so ever since then, I've just enjoyed it. I've always loved it. It's been a part of me. And I think it'll stay that way for the rest of my life until I'm not able to dance anymore. And I'll probably be dancing into the afterlife, whatever. Hi everyone. Today's Wednesday. I know you guys probably tired of me telling you that it's Wednesday, but for this Throwback Thursday, it's gonna be a little bit more humble. I want to post this with the utmost respect and just give you kind of a little background story of what is going on or what these videos are about. But it has to do with a loss and also celebrating the legacy of a person who left a really good legacy behind him. And it was Teresa's nephew, and he was a musician. And like you guys heard me talk about, the kind of like my history of wider music and how I remember it and how I became to be a fan of it. But it was about 3 years ago, and Teresa, lost her nephew at the beginning of 2015, I believe. And then this event was a couple months after that. That was like 3 months: January, February, March. It was around that time. And her cousin, the one that's the leader of the Warda band, DF9, he was telling us a story that, he didn't feel like fulfilling like playing at gigs and stuff. And so um, he just said he didn't want to do it all together anymore. But I guess he left it up to his younger kids, the ones that are up and coming in the wider scene. They're musicians. And if you're in a musician family, it gets passed down through the generations. And so they said, yeah, that they would want to continue because they knew that their brother would want that for them. And so, um, anyways, I believe her name is Angelica Lopez, if I remember. But anyways, at that time, she was vying for the title of Miss Indian Arizona, and she was putting up a benefit dance to raise funds to make it there to the competition, wherever the competition is at. And so, anyways, she asked them to come out and play, and at that time, that's when they were debating whether or not that they should go and play. And so they made the decision that they were going to go do this gig, and the gig was going to be in Ajo. If you don't know where Ajo is, it is about 2 hours and 45 minutes from Tucson, at the western end of the nation. And they have a little place there where the Alta people reside, and it was called, what did they used to call it? Indian Town? Indian something. But anyways, there's a very small percentage of Altams that live there, and it was a place where more modern than the res. And so anyways, there's this place, a hall, I guess you would call it, that they call the Macombo, and the DF9 was to play there for that event. And so as soon as the word got out on Facebook, Teresa told me the very moment she heard it, she said, look, this is what's going on. She said, so that day after you get off of work, we're going to go. She said, I need to be there. I want to be there. I'm going to make it a point to be there. I want to be there as soon as they start, and they start at this time. And so I went to work, I got off, and I basically just changed my clothes, and we got in the car. We stopped and we picked up my mom because the village that she lives in is not far from Ajo. So we went, and they did their set, and Teresa's cousin talked a little bit about how they weren't going to continue, and that was their first appearance since his son had passed. And so it was kind of hard, and so we paid our dues. We went in to, to see the band play, and it was just like an emotion of roller coaster. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, roller coaster of emotions is what I mean. And so, so that is what had ended up happening. We stayed there and listened to them, and we lived out this legacy for this young guy that lost his life. And that is why I recorded, these videos. And I did put it, at some point, I did put it on my page as a vlog. But somehow the other videos that were connected to it I lost them along the way somewhere. And so that's why they're not there. But what I have left, I have put up. And those are going to be the two next clips. So I hope you enjoy and continue on this legacy. And this is my little story of how I became a fan of opera. Blah, 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 blah. I'm getting too excited. And this is my story of how I became a fan of the wider scene. Rights to the music. Um, so please don't take the music from this post.